Thanks so much for being here, Robert. I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Thanks for your time.
I got a chance to watch the movie yesterday, and one of the great things I noticed was it had such a musical pedigree, especially between you and Jonas, and it had such a rich soundscape. How did you and the team go about picking the music for the film?
Yeah, when when I'm in the edit, um, I'm starting to, test music and see what's cutting properly against the scene. And a lot of times when you get down to the wire, you have to change those songs out, because you just find you can't get them cleared.
Mhm.
But sometimes you're able to, one of the original creative jumping off points musically can actually be maintained to like the final release, which is great. But also when I'm making a movie, I make like playlists of like songs that sort of inspire the feeling I get with the movie. So I'm sort of building this musical landscape even before I'm filming the movie. And yeah, that's important just because it sets the tone for me mentally, emotionally, my cast, and for the editor too. So, but music, yeah, I'm very, I made music for a long time. I still make music. I love making music. And I think that, a lot of the movies I've made, if you go back and watch them, like there's always like something pumping, rhythmic kind of thing pulling you through it, sort of like a heartbeat, like setting a tempo in a way for a movie. And I think I'm sensitive to those, how music is used to help kind of elevate, make something feel bigger and exciting. So.
Yeah, I felt like with this movie, that centerpiece was I Melt With You. It's featured in the trailer, it's featured in a big moment in the film itself. The idea of like stopping the world felt so poignant for the, grief that centered around this movie. Was that something you came into the process thinking about, or something that developed through working
Oh
with
yeah.
Brett?
Oh, I Melt With You, the song.
Yeah.
Yeah, like well, what happened was like we there's a karaoke scene in the movie, and like obviously Nick's a professional singer, and his character is not meant to be like somebody who does karaoke.
Yeah.
um Alex's character is actually meant to love karaoke, so it's kind of the different kind of opinion of it. But over the years I've met different like music companies that have different songs in their catalogs, and one of them had "Catch Me I'm Falling," this Pretty Poison song that Alex sings, which I love that song.
Beautiful.
And then I can't remember, there was some connection to the song, like the writers of "I Melt With You," the publisher. And it's a classic, yeah, like it's such a great kind of classic anthemic song that if you kind of peel back the layers, maybe something lyrically even has some meaning to the story that we're feeling. I don't know. We just like suddenly got introduced to the rights holder, and they were able to give us access to the song, which was great. But yeah, so we when we went in, we had to shoot the karaoke scene with a song that we ultimately could clear, obviously, because if he's singing it, we can't suddenly not get it.
Totally.
So we had to work hard to make sure we can get it, which was great. But yeah, I mean, I think the music in the whole film is awesome. I spent a lot of time picking songs for the movie. Like I kind of think that's almost like another job I like to do, which is like a supervisor kind of thing, where I'm like creatively selecting music that I think works for the feeling of the movie. So I'm not, I'm not just kind of like, hey, send me music and I'll check it out. It's like I'm pretty much kind of driving a lot of the music you're hearing to make sure it's like of the vibe of the movie we're telling.
Totally. Much of the movie takes place in Cleveland, Ohio, a city that I think I and most of the characters in the film have sort of a mixed feeling about. What was it like shooting a location with the idea in mind that the characters didn't totally love the place they were in? It was like a stressful situation.
Well, yeah, like Brett Ryland, the screenwriter, he wrote the film sort of inspired by, based on um, his experience with loss, and he's from Cleveland, and Cleveland is like very much a part of his like upbringing. It's like near and dear to him as a city. So there's a lot of mention of Cleveland, but it's for the writer of the movie. He's a Cleveland born and raised, guy, and he moved to LA eventually to become a writer. But we shot the movie in New Jersey, and funny enough, actually Nick Jonas is from New Jersey.
Hmm.
So it's weird, like we're telling a story about one guy's childhood city, and then we're in another one's childhood city, which is actually great because in a way it kind of grounded Nick to be back where it all started for him, and like the city, like this nearby like cities or areas he grew up as a young guy. So I thought that was really interesting that we were able to create that environment. But yeah, I mean, it's like where you are in a city. I wanted to kind of tell a story that a lot of the movies I've made haven't had like this East Coast feeling to it.
Hmm.
I've mostly made movies in LA, sort of maybe warmer.
Yeah.
We wanted to make something. I purposely wanted to shoot it during the sort of like winter season, and some of the days actually it snowed, so you can see it sort of in the background, like snow melting off on like the top of a sign or something. But I wanted to have it like an uncomfortable, like you can see someone's like breath in the cold air kind of looking movie. Sorry, let me tell somebody one thing. Bear with me.
Yeah, no
Stay
worries.
with me here. Sorry.
All good.
Yeah, I wanted there to be this feeling of like he, left Cleveland or left home to go to like, another city to get a job, but kind of figure out, is he going to chase his dreams of being a writer and a creative person, or is he going to kind of be stuck in this sort of job? But leaving home and then coming back to an environment that looks totally different, like a cooler, colder kind of environment. The juxtaposition of the two visually, I thought would be interesting, for the story, to give it
Totally.
like the time and place, but also the flashbacks with his mother they're not all in the winter like time frame, like weather wise. Like if you look at some of it, the weather seasons change obviously,
Hmm.
and he's meant to be looking back at his life with his mom in like a joyous, celebratory kind of way.
Yeah, I felt like
And
I
like
noticed a brightness.
yeah, like you can see there's a warmth to the way we color graded some of the flashbacks too.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's a little cooler in present time. So yeah, I mean, we played a lot with that visually, color palette, to help again, like sell the ideas of flashbacks, living in your head, the idea of someone's memory, sort of these memories of mother kind of keeping him going, as part of his like journey through through grief.
Yeah, this was sort of a return to form not only for Jonas for his location, but also sort of a return to where he got his start acting. Like, this is the first, dramatic role he's taken on in, I would say, a few years at the very least. What was it like sort of getting him back in that space dramatically?
I mean, it was interesting, like he was so well, he does such a great job, and he was so in it, and he was so he jumped in, with everything he had to do this role. And it shows, I think, because to be prepared to take on a movie that's heavy dialogue, and it's all about you're in every scene. There's so much on his shoulders, but I
Mhm.
think Nick has put a lot on his shoulders over his like life, so he's used to that kind of pressure. And I think some people can let it maybe push them away, and some people can lift them. And I thought he really took that pressure and flipped it and used it to his advantage, to give a great performance. And but it starts with preparation. He was really prepared. It starts with like a willingness to collaborate and listen and try and experience, and just be, I don't know, like not everything's going to be great, so you have to kind of be okay to suck sometimes.
Totally.
You have to be willing to suck. And I think to what as they say, to be humiliated or fail, fear of that is like a real thing, for people. So the willingness to just like embrace that fear, and know it's going to be, at the end of the day, like I'm going to protect him and make sure I can help deliver something great. And that goes back to our friendship. We're 16 years friends.
Hmm.
um it's a long time to know somebody, and like he knows I care about it and I really want to do something good. So I think he was trusting it in my ability to help shape and tell the story, and work with everybody on this level.
It's good to have that connection when you're going into anything with the creative process.
Totally, totally.
There's a moment in the movie where we're keyed into the Jewish background of the family. Coming from a half Jewish family yourself, what qualities did the Whelans of this film share with your family?
I don't know. It's funny, like I don't really have like I didn't grow up in a religious family.
Hmm.
Um yeah, like my dad's background was Jewish, my mom's cat was Catholic, Italian Catholics and Polish Jews, and but my family's not a heavy extreme kind of a religious family in any way. Um the common thread on both sides of my family is this idea of family. It's like the connection of family and commitment to sort of honoring or respecting family. So I think if anything, that would be the closest thing for me, and the story specifically would be how to bring to life and tell a story that the family is trying to figure this out together in a way that's really honest. Having been around people that really do care and are very, vulnerable with each other at times, but also not vulnerable with each other at times. So yeah, just trying to take my own experiences of connection, of family, and working through grief in our family, and then yeah, trying to create that on screen in a way that's like fulfilling for me, but also like helps bring you as an audience member like through this journey in a way that feels like authentic.
Totally. Is this the first time that you've gotten to lead up distribution on a movie that you've directed?
Yeah, it actually is. Yeah, like because I was one of the founders of Utopia, and yeah, and we started the company to support independent, filmmaking, and we've been able to really get a lot of great movies out and do right by them. And I always kind of was like, oh, I want my own movie to come through the same like passionate team. So yeah, it's been like really pretty amazing to be able to work with like my fellow Utopia teammates on a movie I directed. Probably some sensitivities because it's my movie and they know like, oh, it's Robert's movie or something. But I don't think there's any like honestly, we're all very open about like what's working, what's not working, the reality of like of putting movies out. And I'm sensitive to like, everyone's time and needs and ideas, and it's collaborative, But I just want, ultimately any filmmaker just wants people to see the movie. That's all you kind of hope for. So whether it's this, that, or the other, you just hope people like get a chance to see it in theaters July 23rd and 25th.
I was about to hit that button
That
myself. Are you
plug?
excited to get that out on the big screen, especially in a space when like oftentimes movies are so quickly put on streaming? Like, are you excited to get to see your film in theaters?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's scary and it's amazing. Like I was saying this today on other like interviews we were doing, but I do think it's important. I think it's great when you see a movie on the big screen. Like it is a different experience. And I do forget like the next generation kind of isn't really thinking about that as much. It's like us, it's like the people that grew up with that are keeping it alive and trying to get young people. But the more we embrace and support independently made films in theaters, the more independently made films get to be seen in theaters. So it's a cycle. I think the support of showing up is meaningful to the keeping that going. Same with live music and concerts. Like going to see a band play live and buying a T-shirt is meaningful to the band. So people kind of need to remember that. And also the active viewing or active experience of watching things, watching a movie on the big screen actively, being involved physically is a great way to be engaging with the film itself. And I think when you watch it at home, it's very passive. There's a bit of a lack of an emotional connection, I think, at like home entertainment. You
Hmm.
can be moved, of course, but there's something about like actually, bringing yourself to this environment to see it with people too, that can be really like meaningful to the process. But yeah, I mean, I feel lucky that the movie's like gonna be seen in theaters. I think it's like pretty cool given the few movies that get like a theatrical release. It's a lot of screens, so people, if you're listening, let's go to the movies.
It's showing at our AMC Fashion District in the area. It's showing at our Regals and our Cinemark. So if you guys are listening on our app, be sure to go to those theaters. Check it out June 23rd, 20 and 25th. You and your dad both had a passion for film and producing. What's a lesson that you learned from him growing up that you carry into your work as a filmmaker and a distributor today?
Um, I think he was all about like staying independent or like, like I think that was a big thing for him. Um, so, like sort of call it like keeping your power or not giving your power away or whatever. I think that's a big lesson or big theme for me. Um, being entrepreneurial, creating opportunities for yourself, not waiting for people to give you permission. Um, yeah, just being smart about, how you do this stuff was a big thing for me in my upbringing.
Totally. I have to ask about this because one of our most popular screenings that we've had at our Jewish Film Festival was Shiva Baby, which
Oh, cool.
now like grown into a real passionate cult fan base online.
Yeah.
What was the process for getting that film to market as a distributor?
I think we did a lot of unique, like, I think we tried to take a real unique approach to like reaching the community. Um, and the movie played great from the get-go. Like everyone really loved it at TIFF. Emma made a great film and Rachel gave a great performance. Like it all starts with that. Like the rest, it's downhill from there if you really make a great film. It's an uphill battle if the movie's not working and you're just trying to really squeeze every way to get someone to go see it.
Mhm.
So yeah, like credit starts with them. And then for us, it was like really creating a story and the messaging to really, complement what they made and do it, not get in the way of it, but create imagery like that shot of her with the bagels and like do things that like were an extension of like the style of the movie. So it felt like a natural way to market the film. A lot of word of mouth marketing. We sent people like bagel and lox trays to their home, like special deliveries. Like, we did stuff like that was just like totally different. And I think people responded well to it. That it lives on that movie, it's going to be out there for a long time.
I definitely felt like y'all leaned into the hyper specific Jewish nature of that movie. And I feel like you guys are always a studio we look for when it comes to independent Jewish
Thank you.
voices and independent
Thank
debuts.
you.
How has running that distribution company connected you with like these up and coming filmmakers, these like young, hungry filmmakers? And like, how do you
Yeah.
feel about supporting them? Like, how are you supporting them now in ways that haven't been in like, when you were coming up in the entertainment industry?
Well, I mean, just having a company, just being another company that can acquire a movie and release it, just that alone, just pretend we just do the worst job ever. Like that for a movie that doesn't have any other options or something, like that's already a huge win for the industry. Now, if we can effectively market a movie or get it out there in a way that really hits the audience, like even better for everybody. But I think, yeah, I just want to be able to like give more films more of a way to be seen. That's a big thing. Like, how do we do that? That's a big problem. How do we get movies out there? It's really hard. People like you're like taking the time to talk to me about it gets the movie out there. So like this is important. As a distributor, like you can't release everything. And there's a lot of movies that just like might not make sense for the company. So we're trying to get better at like finding things that we can really execute on and be helpful to. But there's a lot of stuff out there that's hard to like not help find those movies at home. So, but it's just like, everyone's making movies on some level. It's just now it's like, how do we get them out? So we also, Utopia Media helped start a company called AltaVod. I don't know if you've ever seen Alta Video on Demand, but you could go to altavod.com and you could see that filmmakers can self-distribute their movies on transactionally, like put price tags and sell them to people.
Yeah.
And there's some new features coming in terms of like new aggregation tool sets that are going to be really helpful. But that's the stuff that I think we could like solve bigger problems. Like I think Utopia can only do so much, but like, technology changes the world really. So it's going to be new film technologies and filmmakers' willingness to embrace those technologies and take chances that's going to really change the industry ultimately.
Exactly. I feel like now's the time to always be adapting to, new spaces and new technologies, like especially
Yeah.
with marketing.